Welcome back to Our Perspective, right here on The Voice. Reverend Harris is going to go ahead and continue. He's going to give us some information about the Dylan Noble's law.
Yes, thank you, Lady J. There's a website that the Dylans have put up for folks to go and get information, and it's a very helpful website. We also have a Facebook. But I just want to read a little bit of this here of the Dillion's law. We know that there was a 3-strike law that took place here in California. So this is kind of the similar ballot initiative, that the same process. So what it says, we want to not only pass the Dillion law, but we feel it's important to educate the public, especially teenagers, on how to handle law enforcement interactions. We do not want the Dylan death to be in vain. He was such a great kid, and we know that he would want us to do something to help others. In order to pass the statewide Dylan law, we have a lot of work to do. One of the things we will need to do in the next few months is to have a petition drive to get the required 400,000 signatures needed to put Dillion's law on the ballot for people to vote on. Those signatures must be handwritten, signed, on official printed paper petition. If you sign up for our newsletter, we will keep you posted on when that will start. And I also want to say that you can go to my Facebook, Floyd Harris Jr. It is the first post on my website, my Facebook, and the link for their website is on the chronology there on my Facebook. And then it says, this is going to be an ongoing work in progress. We'll update this page frequently. Some of the highlights of the proposed Dylan law in California. So I want to transfer to Dr. Jean Kennedy so that she could kind of go over what the Dylan law for California will be, the chronology of what it was saying, what it would look like.
So they're asking for 5 things, and I'm just going to read verbatim so that you can hear it for clarification. They are asking for a law that will include these 5 areas. Number 1, mandatory drug, steroid, alcohol, chemical, and pharmaceutical testing for all officers involved in lethal force incidents. The public has a right to be informed of the results of the testing in an expeditious manner. The results of the victim or the suspect should never be made public until the results of the officers involved has been. Number 2, and again I'm reading it verbatim, number 2, mandatory unpaid administrative leave pending a positive outcome of an agency investigation in the lethal force incidents. These agencies proposingly delay the results of their investigations, hoping the public will calm down and forget about the incidents. So this is why they're asking for mandatory unpaid administrative leave pending a positive outcome of the agency's investigation on the lethal force incidents. Number 3, agencies are no longer allowed to investigate themselves. This should obviously, but sadly, if this continues to happen, they're asking that this be part of that law. Agencies not be allowed to investigate themselves. Number 4, in accordance with existing state law, the law enforcement agency is required to release the names of the officers involved within 10 days of a request in Fresno. Now, Chief Jerry Dyer, the chief police involved in this, has repeatedly ignored this and seems to think he is above the law. So the really frightening thing about this is his superior and the superiors and the DA and the mayor of the city and the manager do absolutely nothing about this. So you can hear their conversation in this 4th one. But again, that their names of the police officers be released within 10 days. I will say that yesterday I did hear the names of the officers, so they must have released it. But understand that this incident took place back in June. This is now September. So it just got released one day before the holiday. So they're wanting a law to make sure that within 10 days it gets released. Number 5, names of the victims and suspects and their families, employers, etc. should not be released to the public or to the media until such time as the public and the media have the names of the officers involved. Those are the 5 things. And if I could just take a minute and maybe highlight some of these areas. Mandatory drug testing. We've heard a lot of organizations, the independent consultant work that I do, I see groups that are asking for the same thing. So again, I'm bringing you from a national perspective so that Fresno, Mississippi, Fresno, doesn't realize that there are other Mississippi states that are going on too. So listen, when we talk about mandatory drug testing, shouldn't be anything new to you, the civilians, those of you who are listening to this show. This should not be new. When you're on your job and you have a workman's comp, you get hurt on your job. Look, the job hurt you. That's what a workman's comp is. You got hurt on your job. Do you know when you go to that workman's comp doctor, the first thing they ask you to do is to piss in a pot? They want you to give them a urine test. Why? They just want to cover their ASS from their insurance company because they want to share off the responsibility. So number 1, they're doing a process of elimination. Did you actually have any steroids in you, any chemicals in you, any pharmaceutical drugs inside of you, any alcohol in you, even though the accident was our fault? Because they want to share the responsibility. So if you're clear and you didn't have any of this, all responsibility goes then to your employer. We're not asking anything any different. We're saying, look here, if the police is involved in the shooting, get them tested right away. Now, if they happen to have any of these in their system, then there can be some other civil suits. Because in addition to you working as a police officer on your job, we can also look at you individually taking responsibility. Because while you were on your job shooting somebody, you had alcohol in you, you had some chemical stuff going on in you, you had steroid stuff going on with you. So you would think the police would be happy to share some of that responsibility with the police officers. But no, the police associations cover them in so many ways. And so we have to break that kind of so-called brotherhood and let them know this is for your own good. To get mandatory drug testing. This is nothing you should look upon in a negative way. Now, if you all ain't taking your steroids, we don't should have a problem.
Exactly.
If you ain't taking no alcohol to settle your nerves before you go on your job because you're so afraid of the community that you got to shoot first and ask questions second, if you're clean, you shouldn't have a problem. We should have so many police coming out on this saying, you know what, that's a good idea because I know I come to my work clean. I'm not into this. But look how quiet the police across the nation is when we're asking them about mandatory drug testing. Not just for Fresno, from the family, they're on the right page. But nationwide, they won't step up and say, that's one that we're considering. So that's a problem on that one. So they're pushing that. The other thing is, and also they said when you do this, then you begin to see the bigger picture. Right now, this kid looks like he's a bad kid. They've already tested him. They saw he had some alcohol, but that still makes the cops look like they're so together. So we need that. The other thing is a mandatory unpaid leave. The reason for that is, and I think that can be negotiable, do we take them out for the entire time they're in the review? Or do we give them a certain portion of time? But for goodness sake, do something. Something's better than nothing. When you take them out and you pay them while they're gone, that's a vacation, for goodness sake. Right. And where's the consequences? But if they were losing some form of income, even if you get 30 days paid, it doesn't take them more than 30 days to get a report together. Then you can put them back on pay. But they should have some missed income while we are doing this so that it breaks down, it eliminates this ongoing behavior. We've got to put some deterrences in there.
Not just that, but it will make you think twice. I mean, about shooting somebody. I'm not trying to be funny, but it's like, dang, I'm not gonna get paid, I'm gonna go home. But now, I could get like 2 or 3 months off and get paid, and I'm good. So it would be a deterrent. It is a good thing.
There
totally
are,
agree.
yeah, there are many organizations who do not pay for bad behavior or suspicious behavior. If you're a teacher and you are being suspected of being involved with a child, with a minor, and you're arrested, oh, wait a bit, that's going to impact your pay. Even if you come back out of that saying the child lied, it's not true. Everybody recognizes this except the police department, and yet that's where we're having the problem as a nation, with this particular agency not stepping up and saying we have nothing to hide. So they're fighting this particular thing. They're saying, no, let's make this a law. So again, this is a nationwide thing we're noticing. The Dellums are on the right page.
And it should be like a case by case basis. Like when you shoot somebody 4 times, why are you shooting 4 times? Why are you pulling people over and it's resulting in a shooting? So those things are suspect, and in those areas they should not have pay. They need to sit home and think about it.
Well, you know, sister, you have a good point. It may be that we say the first shot, okay, that's not counted in that. But if you have to shoot more than 2 times, anybody whose gun released